5 signs you're a highly attractive man. Stoic Life Lessons. Stoicism. Most guys go through life completely unaware of the silent power they carry. They assume attraction is all about looks, chiseled jawlines, gym gains, flashy outfits. But what if I told you that the most magnetic men in history, the ones who command attention without saying a word, aren't just physically appealing. They embody a deeper, almost unshakable presence. It's not about your face. It's about how you carry yourself. The way you move, the way you think, the way you handle pressure. Attraction isn't just about being noticed. It's about being remembered. Today we're diving into 5 undeniable signs that prove you have a rare, effortless kind of attraction. The kind that can't be faked, only cultivated. And we're not talking about pickup tricks or social media aesthetics. This is deeper. This is about the psychology, presence, and mindset of a man who naturally draws people in. By the end of this video, you'll see yourself in a whole new way. Let's get into it. 1. Your energy dominates the room. There's a certain kind of man who steps into a room and, without uttering a single word, shifts the energy around him. He doesn't need flashy clothes or an exaggerated entrance. He doesn't seek attention. It finds him. This isn't about arrogance or artificial posturing. It's about an unshakable presence that demands respect. You know this feeling when it happens. Conversations subtly pause for a second. People glance in your direction, and even if they don't consciously recognize it, they feel your presence. That's not coincidence. That's power. And in a world where most men either shrink themselves or overcompensate with noise, a man with controlled, quiet confidence stands out effortlessly. This is the essence of dominance. Not the loud, aggressive kind that demands validation, but the kind that emanates from within. The man whose energy dominates the room is the one who has mastered himself first. His movements are purposeful, never rushed. His posture is upright, showing self-assurance. His gaze is steady, not seeking approval, but radiating clarity of thought. This is the man who doesn't fidget, doesn't check his phone every 5 seconds, and doesn't try to prove himself with empty words. Instead, he simply is. Marcus Aurelius put it best. A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions, and an ambitious man, one who has cultivated self-mastery, doesn't need to announce his value. It's evident in every action he takes. The reality is, most men drift through life unaware of how they are perceived. They move hesitantly, filled with self-doubt, second-guessing themselves at every turn. But when you start carrying yourself with certainty, people feel that. Women notice it instinctively. It's an unspoken language that goes beyond words. It signals security, leadership, and depth. Other men, whether consciously or subconsciously, will either gravitate toward you with respect or react with discomfort because they sense competition. That's the way of the world. The presence of a strong man has always been disruptive because strength, real strength, illuminates weakness in others. But what makes this presence so magnetic? It's not just body language. It's what that body language represents. When you see a man who moves with deliberate ease, who doesn't seek validation but instead radiates a quiet assurance, you're looking at someone who has done the internal work. He has faced his fears, endured challenges, and come out the other side without bitterness. He's not thrown off by small inconveniences, nor does he let external circumstances dictate his emotions. He is centered, he is in control. As Epictetus wisely said, No man is free who is not master of himself. True freedom is not found in money, status, or external markers of success. It is found in an unshakable mind, one that remains firm regardless of what happens around it. In life, this level of presence is rare. We live in an era of distractions, where most men have become passive observers of their own existence, scrolling endlessly, consuming content, and waiting for something to happen to them. They walk into a room unaware of how their slouched posture, nervous gestures, and darting eyes communicate insecurity. They have forgotten that attraction, whether in business, relationships, or social dynamics, is not about what you say but how you carry yourself. The solution? Reclaim your presence. Slow down. Take up space, not arrogantly but confidently. Own your decisions. Train your mind to remain unbothered in chaos, to move with purpose in every step. This is not about pretending to be something you're not, but about stepping into the man you were always meant to be. A man whose energy dominates the room is one who has mastered Stoic principles: discipline over impulse, purpose over distraction, presence over reactivity. When he enters a space, people sense stability. They feel the weight of someone who is not easily swayed by emotions or external pressures. He is unshaken in a world full of noise. He is calm in the midst of uncertainty. If you've ever noticed people reacting to you without a word being spoken, whether a woman adjusting her posture when you pass, a man subtly mirroring your stance, or a conversation momentarily pausing upon your entrance, understand that it's not luck, it's not chance, it's the result of how you move through life. And if you haven't experienced this yet, then ask yourself, are you moving like a man who is in control of himself? Are you embodying the qualities that make others take notice without seeking approval? Because when you do, when you cultivate that deep internal presence, every room you enter will feel it. This is what it means to be attractive beyond the surface. It's not about looks, it's about presence, psychology, and the unshakable essence of a man who knows exactly who he is. So the next time you step into a room, don't just exist, command it. 2. Women hold your gaze a little too long. There's something powerful about the way eye contact can shift an entire interaction. Women are hyper-aware of their surroundings, and they don't just lock eyes with any man. If she glances your way and quickly looks away, that could mean nothing. But when a woman holds your gaze for a little too long, just an extra second, just enough for you to notice, something deeper is at play. It's subtle, but in that moment she's acknowledging your presence. Maybe she's intrigued, maybe she's testing you, or maybe the intensity of that connection caught her off guard. And whether she holds the gaze or deliberately avoids looking at you altogether, both are signals that you've sparked something inside her. Most men don't understand the psychology of eye contact, and because of that they either overreact or shrink under its weight. If you look away too quickly, it signals nervousness, hesitation, or self-doubt, things that instantly weaken attraction. But if you hold the stare for too long, trying to force dominance, it can feel aggressive, even unsettling. The key? A natural, calm, unwavering gaze. Hold it just enough to acknowledge the moment, then look away as if it's no big deal. That simple action communicates confidence. Confidence in yourself, in your ability to handle social pressure, and in the fact that you don't need external validation to feel secure. The ancient Stoics, especially Epictetus, understood this deeply. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In this case, it's not just about whether a woman looks at you, it's about how you respond when she does. In today's world, where most men are glued to their phones, avoiding eye contact and drowning in social anxiety, the ability to meet a woman's gaze with quiet confidence is a rare trait. Have you ever noticed how many people refuse to look up when walking down the street? How often do men stare at the ground in elevators or avoid glances in social settings? We live in a society where people are afraid of direct connection, yet deep down, everyone craves it. When you're the kind of man who can comfortably hold eye contact, it signals that you're different, grounded, present, and unshaken by the moment. This isn't just about attraction, it's about how you navigate life. A man with a stoic mindset doesn't flinch under pressure. He doesn't break eye contact out of insecurity, nor does he seek it to feed his ego. He simply is. That kind of presence is magnetic. In social dynamics, a woman holding your gaze is her way of testing whether you're truly present. In a world dominated by distractions, a man who remains unfazed, who doesn't scramble for approval or look away in discomfort, is a man who naturally commands respect. And let's not forget, some women won't even dare to meet your eyes, not because they aren't interested, but because the connection feels too intense. That, in itself, is a sign of attraction. Think about the times you've caught a woman stealing glances at you, but refusing to let herself fully engage. She notices you. She's aware of your presence. And whether she locks eyes with you or deliberately avoids it, both actions stem from the same place. She feels something. Attraction isn't always about direct pursuit. Sometimes it's about the energy you exude and the way others subconsciously react to it. It's not about trying to make people notice you, but rather about carrying yourself in such a way that they can't help but notice. A man with stoic happiness and self-mastery doesn't seek attention, he naturally draws it. So, the next time you catch a woman looking at you, don't overanalyze. Don't let insecurity creep in and make you question yourself. Instead, own the moment, maintain your composure, hold her gaze just long enough to acknowledge the connection, then carry on as if it's the most natural thing in the world. Because for a man with a strong stoic mindset, it is. Women are drawn to men who are comfortable in their own skin, men who don't need approval to feel whole. When you carry yourself this way, not just in eye contact, but in all areas of life, you send a message without saying a word. I know who I am. I don't seek validation. I move through the world with certainty. That energy is what makes you truly attractive, not just to women, but to everyone around you. And that brings us to the final lesson. Attraction isn't about trying harder. It's about being more grounded, more present, more self-assured. If you want to stand out, you don't need tricks or lines. You need presence. And presence starts with something as simple as looking someone in the eye and showing them, without a word, that you are fully here. 3. You have a natural command over conversations. There's a rare kind of man who speaks, and the room instinctively quiets. He's not the loudest, nor is he desperately fighting for attention, but when he talks, people listen. Why? Because his words carry weight. He doesn't rush. He doesn't fill the silence with nervous chatter or seek validation with excessive words. Instead, he speaks with purpose, with calm certainty, and with a voice that resonates authority. A high-value man, a win stoic, understands that confidence isn't in the volume of his words, but in the depth of his presence. When he speaks, he does so deliberately, allowing pauses to add impact rather than scrambling to fill them with empty noise. This is what separates ordinary men from those who naturally command conversations. Have you ever noticed how some men, without effort, draw others into their orbit? They don't beg for attention, it simply finds them. Women in particular pick up on this instantly. When a woman leans in while you're talking, when she holds on to your words as if they mean something more, she's responding to an energy that few men possess. The energy of self-assurance, of quiet control, of a man who knows himself so well that he doesn't need to prove it. Most men today talk too much, yet say too little. They think they need to entertain, to fill every pause, to bombard with stories, jokes, or achievements to hold someone's attention. But a truly magnetic man understands that real power lies in restraint. He allows his words to be thoughtful. He listens more than he speaks, but when he does speak, every word carries intent. His tone is calm, measured, and unshaken. His presence fills the room, not with noise, but with gravity. And because he is at peace within himself, others are drawn to him. This is the essence of the Stoic mindset, choosing control over chaos, depth over distraction, presence over performance. It's not just about speaking with confidence, it's about being confident enough to let silence do some of the talking. But let's bring this into the modern world. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone's presence alone made you pay attention? Maybe it was a leader, a mentor, or someone whose confidence was undeniable. They didn't need to be loud. They didn't need to be flashy. They simply were. This is what true presence looks like. It's an unshaken belief in oneself, a certainty that does not demand validation. Women notice this immediately. When a man can sit in silence without discomfort, when he doesn't chase, but instead lets the world come to him, he projects a level of security that is rare. And in a world where most men are anxious, where they fidget, talk too fast, and try too hard to impress, the man who is comfortable in his own skin, who speaks slowly, deliberately, and with purpose, is a magnet for attention. When was the last time you spoke and truly owned the moment? Did you let your words land with impact, or did you rush through them, afraid of silence? Did you hold eye contact when making a point, or did you glance away, unsure of yourself? Did you listen, truly listen, or were you just waiting for your turn to talk? A high-value man understands that conversation is not about speaking more, but about speaking better. He knows when to pause, when to let his words settle, and when to let others talk without the need to interject. And because of this, people respect him. They feel his presence even before he speaks, and when he does, they don't just hear him, they listen. There's an old saying, a wise man speaks because he has something to say. A fool speaks because he has to say something. This is the core difference between a man who is attractive on a deeper level and one who is easily ignored. If you want to command you need to be intentional. You need to slow down, let your words breathe, and embrace the power of presence. Women, colleagues, and even strangers will instinctively respond to this. Because in a world full of men desperately seeking attention, the one who doesn't need it is the one who gets it effortlessly. And here's where the lesson comes full circle. Attraction is not about what you say. It's about how you carry yourself while saying it. If you truly know yourself, if you have built internal confidence, if you understand the principles of Stoicism today, that control over yourself is the highest form of power, then your energy alone will dictate how others respond to you. Speak less, but with more meaning. Slow down, but remain sharp. Say what you mean and mean what you say. When you master this, conversations will no longer feel like something you have to win, they will be something you command. If you've made it this far, you're already stepping into your power. Drop a comment saying, "I radiate confidence," to show you're committed to becoming the most attractive, high-value version of yourself. Stay tuned. This journey is just getting started. 4. People respect your space without you asking. There's something powerful about a man who moves through the world with quiet authority. It's not about being the biggest guy in the room, nor is it about demanding attention. It's about presence. Have you ever noticed how some men, without saying a word, seem to part a crowd effortlessly? People instinctively step aside, making way without being told. They don't have to ask for space. It's simply given. That's not random, nor is it mere coincidence. It's the silent language of respect. A man who carries himself with intention, who walks with purpose rather than hesitation, naturally commands the space around him. This is a sign of deep internal confidence, one of the core tenets of Stoic Life Lessons. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." The way you move reflects the way you think, and people respond to that energy before they even understand why. In crowded streets, busy restaurants, or packed social gatherings, some men are ignored, brushed past, or interrupted without a second thought. Others, however, are subtly acknowledged. When they step forward, people adjust. When they sit, others make room. This isn't about physical dominance, and it's certainly not about arrogance. It's about certainty. A man with a strong, unwavering presence doesn't need to impose himself. The world simply reacts to his energy. This kind of quiet dominance is one of the most attractive and powerful traits a man can cultivate. Women, especially, are highly attuned to this. A man who naturally commands space signals that he is someone, that he is important, not because he demands to be seen, but because he carries himself like someone who matters. And in the world of attraction, importance is everything. When a woman sees a man who moves with effortless confidence, who doesn't fidget, who doesn't hesitate, who takes his time yet moves with clear purpose, she instinctively assumes he has value. This is why some men struggle to gain attention, while others receive it without effort. Attraction starts before a single word is spoken. What is Stoicism if not the practice of internal control, of disciplining the mind so that external events do not dictate one's state of being? A Stoic man does not beg for space, nor does he forcefully take it. He owns it simply by the way he carries himself. He is unbothered by the trivial, unshaken by the chaotic, and immune to the frantic energy that dominates so many men today. He walks with clarity of purpose, speaks with measured intent, and never seeks validation. His presence alone is enough to influence his surroundings. This is the difference between those who demand attention and those who command it. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you master your mind, when you embrace the calm certainty of self-assurance, the world adjusts around you, not because you force it to, but because people naturally respond to strength. In modern life, this level of quiet command is rare. Too many men are either overly aggressive, puffing themselves up, trying too hard to project dominance, or they shrink themselves, walking without direction, unsure of how they are perceived. The man who understands Stoic life lessons does neither. He does not rush, nor does he hesitate. He moves at his own pace, unaffected by the noise around him. Whether in a boardroom, a bar, or a simple walk through the city, his presence is felt. And the irony? The less he seeks to be noticed, the more people naturally notice him. This is because confidence, real confidence, is never loud. It does not need validation. It does not announce itself. It is simply there. If you find that people do not naturally respect your space, it's not a matter of physicality, it's a matter of energy. Start refining your posture. Walk as if you have somewhere to be, even if you don't. Move with calm intention. Speak with clarity. Stop fidgeting, stop hesitating, stop looking for approval in the eyes of others. Be still, be composed, be certain. When you do this, you won't need to demand respect. It will be given freely. Because in the end, the world doesn't move for those who seek permission. It moves for those who own themselves. 5. Women find excuses to be near you. A man with a stoic mindset understands that attraction isn't about chasing, it's about drawing in. Women, by nature, don't typically walk up and declare their interest, but when they are intrigued by a man, they will find ways to be near him, subtly placing themselves in his orbit. Ever been at the gym and noticed the same woman adjusting her ponytail just a few steps away? Ever been at a cafe and felt the presence of someone lingering a little longer than necessary, seemingly browsing her phone but somehow always positioned within your space? These are not coincidences. When a woman is interested, she doesn't always say it. She shows it. She walks past you multiple times, stands just close enough for you to take notice, or even accidentally bumps into you. These small gestures are her way of making herself available while maintaining the illusion of effortlessness. Women operate in subtleties, and the man who recognizes this and remains composed, rather than jumping at the first sign of attention, is the one who naturally attracts more of it. The truth is, attraction is deeply psychological, and a stoic man understands this better than most. He knows that when a woman is drawn to him, she will test his awareness. Does he recognize the signs, or is he oblivious? Is he so desperate for attention that he reacts immediately, or is he so self-assured that he lets her interest develop naturally? As Seneca once said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. A man who exudes stoic happiness, the kind that comes from being at peace with himself, not seeking validation, and moving with purpose, doesn't have to chase interactions. They find him. Women sense this kind of presence instinctively. A man who is calm, unshaken, and comfortable in his own skin becomes a magnet. And what does a magnet do? It pulls, never pushes. Think about it. How many times have you seen a man try too hard, forcing his way into conversations, overcompensating with loud jokes or exaggerated gestures? And how often have you seen the opposite, where a man who remains composed, who doesn't need to be the center of attention, somehow becomes the center of attention? That's the difference. Women don't flock to a man because he's the loudest in the room. They are drawn to a man because his energy is steady, his confidence is effortless, and his presence is undeniable. This is Stoicism today, understanding that real power comes from self-control, not external validation. A high-value man lets things unfold naturally. He recognizes when a woman is positioning herself near him, but he doesn't react out of neediness. He acknowledges her presence, but he doesn't chase it. This creates an aura of mystery and strength that women find irresistible. And that's the truth, my guy. Attraction isn't something you force, it's something you become. When you master your energy, move with certainty, and speak with conviction, the world responds. You don't have to chase. You don't have to prove yourself. You just are. And when you reach that level of presence, people, women, opportunities, respect will naturally gravitate toward you. So take what you've learned today, apply it, and watch how everything starts to shift in your favor. If you found value in this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Win Stoic. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos on Stoic Life Lessons and becoming a high-value man. Stay strong, stay present, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, here's the biggest giveaway. A woman who initiates small talk for no real reason. She might ask you something trivial, something she already knows the answer to, just to spark interaction. Maybe she laughs at a joke that wasn't even funny, or finds an excuse to continue the conversation when it could have ended. These are deliberate moves, not random acts. Women will not waste time making conversation with a man they have no interest in. In fact, if a woman isn't interested, she will do everything possible to avoid being near you. She will not position herself close, she will not initiate small talk, and she will certainly not go out of her way to cross paths with you multiple times. But a woman who is drawn to you, she will ensure she is within reach, even if she does so subtly. This is where most men fail. They either miss these signals completely or misinterpret them, acting too soon or too aggressively. A man with a Stoic mindset knows that less is more. He doesn't need to force the conversation, overanalyze every glance, or immediately jump at the opportunity. He remains composed, allowing attraction to build. He understands that a woman who is truly interested will keep placing herself in his presence, and when the moment is right, he will engage with calm, deliberate confidence. The world respects a man who is in control of himself, and so do women. They are drawn to men who don't seek validation, but instead project quiet strength. These are not coincidences, they are choices. They are her way of signaling interest while allowing you the opportunity to step forward. Not desperately, not aggressively, but with the calm certainty of a man who understands his own value. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And a good man, an attractive man, does not chase. He draws in. He lets his presence do the work. He remains steady, aware, and in control. That's the essence of Stoicism today, and that is what separates the men who are ignored from the men who are effortlessly desired. Hidden tips to help you recognize a good man. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. But how can you recognize a truly good man in today's world? A man of character, integrity, and strength. Many people are drawn to the illusion of goodness, the charming words, the grand gestures, but beneath the surface, what defines a man who is genuinely good? In this video, we'll uncover the hidden signs of a truly good man, the subtle yet powerful traits that reveal his character even when no one is watching. Welcome to Win Stoic, where we embrace the wisdom of the Stoics to navigate life with clarity, resilience, and purpose. Let's get started. 1. He asks you meaningful questions. A man's ability to ask meaningful questions isn't just a sign of good manners. It's a reflection of his depth, emotional intelligence, and genuine interest in others. In a world where conversations are often reduced to small talk and surface-level exchanges, a man who takes the time to ask deep, thoughtful questions stands apart. It signals that he's not just passing the time, but truly engaging, seeking to understand and appreciating the essence of another person. This kind of curiosity isn't something that can be faked. It stems from a well-developed inner world, a sense of presence, and a sincere appreciation for life itself. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. A man who asks profound questions is a man who thinks deeply, who contemplates life beyond the superficial, and who genuinely wants to connect with people on a level that matters. When a man asks, "What was the best part of your day?" he isn't just filling silence. He's inviting someone into a moment of reflection, a pause that allows them to savor the good in their life. When he asks about cherished childhood memories, he's opening a door to a person's past, their joys, and their formative experiences. These questions aren't random. They create an emotional bridge, a space where real connection is possible. Conversely, a man who doesn't ask questions or only provides short answers often leaves the impression of being uninterested, emotionally closed off, or even self-absorbed. This is the kind of interaction that leaves the other person feeling unseen, unheard, and ultimately undervalued. The difference between these two types of men is striking. One draws others in, making them feel interesting, appreciated, and significant. The other repels, making them feel like an afterthought. A man's ability to engage in a meaningful dialogue is a reflection of his ability to form and maintain relationships. Seneca once noted, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." A man who genuinely listens and asks thoughtful questions follows this principle effortlessly. His curiosity isn't just about gathering information, it's about connection, about showing that he values people beyond what they can offer him. This quality also speaks volumes about how he views the world. A man who is genuinely curious about others likely carries this curiosity into all areas of life. He is the kind of person who constantly learns, who explores new ideas, and who finds wonder in the details of everyday existence. This type of mindset, often aligned with Stoic life lessons, allows a man to remain engaged and adaptable, continually evolving in his understanding of the world and the people in it. When applied to relationships, this means that conversations never grow stale, that there is always something new to explore together. A woman who finds herself with a man like this will rarely experience emotional stagnation, because he is someone who is always growing, always seeking, and always interested in discovery. The power of meaningful questions goes beyond romantic relationships. It extends to friendships, family, and even professional interactions. The ability to genuinely inquire about another person's life, struggles, and aspirations fosters deeper bonds and builds trust. It is a trait that great leaders, mentors, and friends share. It is no coincidence that some of the most admired figures in history were also master conversationalists. They knew that a well-placed question could reveal more than 1,000 statements ever could. In life, often encourages a fast-paced, transactional approach to communication, one where conversations are more about efficiency than depth. People text instead of talk, scroll instead of engage, and respond with emojis rather than emotions. In this context, a man who prioritizes meaningful conversations becomes a rare gem. He embodies the wisdom of Stoicism, where the focus is on quality over quantity, depth over breadth. As Epictetus reminds us, we have control over our mind and our actions, nothing more. A man who chooses to cultivate genuine curiosity is exercising that control, choosing to be present, choosing to engage fully, and choosing to see the people around him as valuable and worth knowing. For men seeking to embody these qualities, the path is clear. It starts with a shift in mindset. a decision to see conversations as opportunities for connection rather than obligations to be fulfilled. It requires slowing down, truly listening, and resisting the urge to dominate discussions with self-centered narratives. It means stepping away from rehearsed, superficial exchanges and instead embracing the art of asking, of learning, of drawing others out. This isn't about memorizing a list of impressive questions. It's about cultivating an authentic curiosity about the world and the people in it. It's about living a life where depth is valued over pretense, where relationships are built on understanding rather than convenience. At its core, the ability to ask meaningful questions is an indicator of wisdom, emotional maturity, and a well-formed character. It is a skill that can be developed through intentional practice, by reading deeply, by engaging in thoughtful reflection, and by taking inspiration from philosophy, literature, and history. A man who values this quality will find that it enriches every aspect of his life, opening doors to deeper relationships, greater self-awareness, and a more fulfilling existence. And in a world where many people are starving for real connection, he will stand out, not just as a good man, but as a remarkable one. 2. He is fully present with you. A good man is one who is fully present with you, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. In an age where distractions are everywhere, where people are glued to their phones, scrolling endlessly, and half listening to conversations while their minds are elsewhere, true presence has become rare. A man who genuinely values you will set aside these distractions, turn off his phone, and give you his full attention because he understands that the essence of a relationship is built in those moments of undivided focus. He won't just ask, "How was your day?" as a formality. He will ask because he genuinely wants to know, because your words matter to him, and because he finds joy in sharing your experiences. This is the kind of presence that doesn't just make you feel heard, it makes you feel seen, understood, and valued. It's the type of presence that builds deep connections and creates lasting trust. You've likely encountered people who nod while you speak, but their eyes are darting to their phone, their mind clearly elsewhere. It's frustrating, isn't it? It leaves you feeling unimportant, like you're just another voice in the background noise of their day. But a man who is truly present understands that attention is the rarest and most valuable gift he can offer. He listens, not just with his ears, but with his entire being. His body language, the way he leans in when you speak, the way he remembers the little details you've shared, all show that he is engaged, invested, and that you are a priority. This isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small, consistent actions that reveal who he truly is. As Seneca wisely put it, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. A man who embodies a Stoic mindset understands this deeply. He does not let his mind wander in unnecessary distractions. He chooses to be fully engaged in what truly matters. Applies to modern life. Have you ever been to a restaurant and noticed couples sitting across from each other, both staring at their phones, barely exchanging words? Compare that to the rare sight of a couple who are completely immersed in each other, laughing, talking, sharing stories. The difference is striking, and it all boils down to presence. A man who values stoic happiness understands that real connection isn't found in notifications, social media updates, or emails. It's found in the present moment, in the conversations that build intimacy, in the silent moments of togetherness that don't need filling with distractions. He doesn't check his phone mid-conversation. He doesn't respond absent-mindedly. He treats your time together as sacred, as something worth cherishing. To illustrate this, let's take a look at a simple yet powerful story. There was a man who had a habit of always putting his phone face down on the table whenever he sat with his wife. It wasn't just a habit, it was a symbol. It was his way of telling her, "You are more important than anything that could appear on this screen." One day, his friend asked him why he did this, and he replied, "Because when someone gives you their time, they are giving you a part of their life that they will never get back. I want to honor that." That is the power of presence. A man who respects your time, who listens with intent, and who makes you feel like you are the only person in the room, is a man who understands the value of love and connection. And this doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. It's true for friendships, family, and professional life as well. Think about the people in your life who truly make you feel valued. Chances are they are the ones who listen, who engage, who remember the little things. They are the ones who don't interrupt you with a glance at their phone, who don't make you feel like they have somewhere more important to be. This is the kind of presence that builds deep relationships, the kind that fosters trust and respect. In contrast, those who are constantly distracted, who half listen and half engage, leave behind a trail of shallow connections and missed opportunities for meaningful bonds. Now, let's turn this lesson inward. What about you? Are you fully present in your relationships? Or are you guilty of half listening, of being physically there but mentally elsewhere? Presence is a two-way street, and just as you seek a man who values presence, you must cultivate the same habit within yourself. Seneca also said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Time spent mindlessly scrolling, distractedly engaging, or only half listening is time wasted. Time that could have been used to build deeper, more fulfilling relationships. If you want a man who is present, be the kind of person who values presence. Put away the phone, slow down and listen, not just to reply, but to understand. At the end of the day, presence is the foundation of any great relationship. It is what makes love feel real, what makes friendships last, and what creates bonds that withstand the test of time. In a world where attention is constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions, a man who knows how to be fully present is a man of rare and immeasurable value. If you ever wonder whether someone is truly invested in you, watch how they spend their time when they are with you. Do they make you feel heard, seen, and valued, or do they make you feel like an afterthought? The answer will tell you everything you need to know. True love, deep friendship, and meaningful connections are built on presence. And a good man, one worth keeping, will always understand this truth. 3. He takes responsibility for his choices. A truly good man, a high-value man, stands apart because he takes full responsibility for his words, actions, and choices. This isn't about perfection, nor is it about never making mistakes. Rather, it's about owning up to them, learning from them, and making decisions with integrity. In a world where excuses are often easier than accountability, a man who takes responsibility for his life demonstrates maturity, strength, and wisdom. He doesn't blame external circumstances for his failures. He doesn't point fingers at others when things go wrong. Instead, he acknowledges his role in every outcome, good or bad, and moves forward with a sense of purpose. In your life, have you ever met someone who always has an excuse, always shifts blame, or refuses to own up to their shortcomings? It's frustrating, isn't it? It erodes trust and makes you question their character. Now, contrast that with someone who, when they make a mistake, immediately acknowledges it and works to make it right. This is the mark of a Stoic mindset, a man who understands that responsibility isn't a burden but a privilege. When a man takes ownership of his actions, it means he has control over his life. He isn't waiting for someone else to fix things. He takes the initiative to improve, to grow, to become better than he was yesterday. That's what separates the strong from the weak, the leaders from the followers, the high-value men from those who simply drift through life without direction. This principle extends to all areas of life: relationships, careers, and personal development. A man who takes responsibility in his career doesn't wait for promotions to be handed to him. He works for them. He doesn't complain about his job without taking steps to either improve his situation or find something better. A man who takes responsibility in his relationships doesn't blame his partner for all the problems. He reflects on his own behavior, communicates openly, and works on solutions together. And a man who takes responsibility for his personal growth doesn't make excuses about why he can't improve. He actively seeks knowledge, challenges himself, and embraces discomfort as a necessary part of progress. This is the essence of the Stoic mindset, the understanding that while we can't control everything in life, we can control our reactions, our efforts, and our choices. Now, picture another man who, in the same situation, takes a deep breath, assesses his skills, and immediately begins looking for new opportunities, maybe even using the setback as motivation to start his own business. Which man do you respect more? Which one would you trust, follow, or admire? The answer is obvious. Responsibility is power. It is the difference between being a passive observer of life and being an active participant in shaping your own destiny. The world respects men who take control, who own their choices, and who act with integrity. And this isn't just about external achievements. It's about character. It's about who a man is when no one is watching. A man who takes responsibility doesn't lie to himself. He doesn't hide behind justifications or wait for someone else to clean up his messes. He confronts reality as it is, not as he wishes it to be. He knows that every decision he makes, every action he takes, builds the foundation of his future. The truth is, people can sense this kind of accountability. It creates an aura of trustworthiness, reliability, and strength. When a man consistently shows that he takes responsibility for his life, he earns the respect of others, not through words, but through actions. Ultimately, responsibility is the foundation of everything a man achieves in life. It is the key to success, the core of strong relationships, and the backbone of personal growth. It is what separates those who merely exist from those who truly live with purpose. If you ever find yourself wondering what makes a man truly great, look for this one trait above all else. A man who owns his actions, his choices, and his path in life is a man you can respect, trust, and count on. Because at the end of the day, greatness isn't given, it's built, decision by decision, through the unwavering commitment to take responsibility, no matter what. 4. He respects you and your feelings. When a man genuinely tells you that you are unlike any other person he has met, that your perspective, your kindness, or your depth is remarkable, he is offering a meaningful compliment, one that goes beyond surface-level flattery. A good man doesn't just admire you, he values and respects your emotions, even if he does not always fully understand them. He does not dismiss your feelings as irrational or overblown, nor does he undermine them with condescension or indifference. Instead, he listens, acknowledges and respects your emotional world, recognizing that your feelings are valid, simply because they are yours. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." A man who has internalized this wisdom does not seek to control, change, or invalidate the emotions of those around him. He meets them with understanding and patience. Respect is more than a kind word or a reassuring touch. It is demonstrated in the smallest of actions, in the moments when no one is watching. A man who respects you does not belittle your emotions, does not roll his eyes when you express concerns, and does not make you feel small for having feelings that differ from his own. Instead, he creates an environment where you feel safe to express yourself fully. He recognizes that emotions are not problems to be solved, but experiences to be shared. This is the mark of a man who not only possesses emotional intelligence, but who understands what is Stoicism in practice. It is the ability to remain composed, not to react with frustration or arrogance, but to listen with intent and sincerity. A strong man does not feel threatened by emotions. He understands that true strength lies in his ability to provide support, stability, and presence. His respect for your feelings extends beyond the good times. It remains unwavering in moments of difficulty, when you are upset, frustrated, or overwhelmed. Instead of retreating or dismissing you, he stays present, offering not just solutions, but understanding. Now, think about the opposite. Have you ever been in a situation where your feelings were dismissed, where you were told you were being too emotional or overreacting? It leaves a mark, doesn't it? The difference between a man who respects your emotions and one who disregards them is stark. One makes you feel safe, heard, and valued. The other makes you feel like your emotions are burdensome, like you must filter yourself to be accepted. Respect is not about agreement. A man does not have to fully understand every nuance of what you feel, but a good man, a high-value man, recognizes that your emotions deserve space, not resistance. He does not try to fix everything, nor does he make you feel guilty for experiencing a moment of vulnerability. He stands firm, steady, a grounding presence in a world that can often feel chaotic. This principle of respect extends beyond personal relationships and applies to all aspects of life. A man who truly understands respect does not reserve it only for the people he loves. It is a core value he upholds with everyone he meets. He treats strangers with kindness, he speaks with consideration, and he carries himself with a dignity that reflects inner strength. You will notice that men who respect others also tend to command respect themselves. This is because respect is not demanded, it is earned through the way a person conducts themselves daily. Seneca, a great Stoic philosopher, once stated, "Treat your inferiors as you would be treated by your betters." A man who respects others, regardless of status, background, or beliefs, is a man who understands that true strength is found in character, not control. In today's world, where digital interactions have replaced deep conversations, and where misunderstandings are often resolved with a dismissive text, the ability to show real respect is more valuable than ever. A man who respects you will not leave your messages unanswered when he knows you need reassurance. He will not be emotionally absent when you need presence. He will not gaslight, manipulate, or make you feel like your concerns are insignificant. Instead, he will communicate with clarity, with honesty, and with a genuine willingness to listen. He will choose understanding over dismissal, patience over irritation, and kindness over defensiveness. This level of respect creates a foundation upon which true connection is built. A man's respect for your emotions also speaks to his ability to handle conflict with maturity. Disagreements are inevitable in any relationship, but the way they are handled determines the strength of the bond. A good man does not resort to insult, passive aggressiveness, or silent treatment. Instead, he approaches disagreements with a calm and measured response, choosing discussion over defensiveness. This is a reflection of Stoic life lessons in action, remaining in control of one's emotions, understanding the power of words, and prioritizing resolution over ego. He does not raise his voice to win an argument. He seeks to understand and find common ground. Respect is one of the most powerful indicators of a good man, and it's something that cannot be faked long-term. It is revealed in everyday actions, in the way he listens, in the way he responds, and in the way he makes you feel. If you want to recognize a good man, pay attention to how he treats you in your moments of vulnerability. As Epictetus once said, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. A man who respects emotions, both his own and others, is a man who carries true strength. And in the end, that is what separates a fleeting presence from a lasting impact. If you've made it this far, you're someone who values wisdom and genuine connection. Drop a comment saying, "I recognize true character," to show you're committed to spotting the qualities of a high-value man. Stick around. There's more insight coming your way. 5. He has strong communication. A man's ability to communicate with honesty, clarity, and emotional intelligence is one of the strongest indicators of his character and a true mark of Stoic mindset. In today's world, where so many interactions are filtered through screens, where misunderstandings fester due to lack of real conversation, and where people avoid difficult discussions out of fear or discomfort, a man who embraces open and honest communication is a rare find. A good man doesn't just talk. He communicates with purpose. He listens actively, expresses his thoughts clearly, and isn't afraid of vulnerability. He understands that strong relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, are built on a foundation of trust, and trust is formed through consistent, transparent communication. He does not dodge difficult topics, nor does he let pride or ego dictate his conversations. Instead, he engages with honesty and a willingness to understand, knowing that the deepest connections are forged in conversations that matter. When we talk about communication, we often focus on how well someone speaks, but an equally important part of strong communication is listening. A man with good communication skills doesn't just wait for his turn to talk. He listens with intent, with presence, and with respect. Have you ever spoken to someone who truly listens? It feels different. You feel heard, valued, and understood. Now, compare that to someone who is only half engaged, whose mind is elsewhere, who dismisses your concerns or avoids the conversation altogether. The difference is striking, and it tells you everything about their character. A man who embodies stoic happiness knows that conversations are not competitions, and understanding others requires patience and emotional control. He doesn't rush to defend himself when criticized. Instead, he takes a moment to absorb, reflect, and respond with wisdom rather than reaction. He knows that difficult conversations are opportunities for growth rather than threats to his pride. Strong communication also means a willingness to discuss difficult topics, a trait that separates emotionally mature men from those who avoid conflict at all costs. A man who truly values a relationship, whether romantic or otherwise, does not sweep problems under the rug or allow unspoken resentment to build. Instead, he faces challenges head-on, knowing that silence only creates distance. Now think about a time when a simple, honest conversation cleared the air and brought two people closer together. The truth is, relationships thrive when both parties feel safe enough to express themselves without fear of judgment or dismissal. A man who practices Stoicism today understands that avoiding a conversation out of discomfort only makes the situation worse in the long run. He approaches these discussions with a level-headed mindset, prioritizing resolution over avoidance. Into modern life with a real-world example. Picture a couple facing a challenge, perhaps financial struggles, differing life goals, or emotional distance. A man who lacks communication skills may withdraw, avoid the topic, or become defensive, leaving his partner feeling unheard and alone. On the other hand, a man who values strong communication will sit down, address the issue directly, and work together toward a solution. He will ask, "What can we do to fix this?" rather than saying, "This isn't my fault." This simple difference in approach can be the deciding factor in whether a relationship grows stronger or falls apart. The same principle applies to friendships, family dynamics, and even the workplace. Wherever people interact, communication either builds bridges or creates walls. A man who takes responsibility for his words and actively works to communicate better is a man who commands respect and trust in every area of life. Beyond words, communication is also reflected in action. A man who says one thing but does another lacks credibility. If a man tells you he values honesty but becomes defensive when confronted, his words mean nothing. If he claims to prioritize a relationship but refuses to engage in meaningful conversations, his actions speak louder than his promises. A man with true Stoic mindset understands that his word is his bond, and he ensures that his actions align with his communication. He does not manipulate, deceive, or withhold information to gain control. He operates with transparency because he knows that trust is the foundation of any meaningful connection. Now, let's turn this inward. How do you communicate? Are you as open, honest, and engaged as you expect others to be? Do you create space for meaningful conversations, or do you shy away from them? The best way to attract people who communicate well is to develop that skill within yourself. Too often, people expect others to read their minds or assume that emotions are understood without being expressed. But the reality is, strong communication requires effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to engage, even when the conversation is uncomfortable. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This is especially true in communication. So many conflicts arise not from what is said, but from assumptions, misinterpretations, and unspoken frustrations. At the end of the day, communication is one of the most powerful tools a man can possess. It influences every relationship, every career move, and every personal interaction. A man who communicates with clarity, honesty, and purpose is a man who naturally earns respect. If you want to recognize a good man, pay attention to how he speaks, how he listens. 6. He shows respect and kindness to you and others. A truly high-value man understands that respect and kindness are not occasional acts, but a way of life, something he embodies in every interaction with you and with others. A man's true character is revealed not in how he treats those he wants to impress, but in how he treats people who can do nothing for him. If he is warm, respectful, and considerate toward waiters, strangers, co-workers, and even those who disagree with him, then you know his kindness is genuine, not just a performance. A man of this caliber does not see kindness as a weakness, but as one of his greatest strengths. He finds stoic wisdom in choosing patience over anger, compassion over cruelty, and understanding over judgment. A good man doesn't need to tell you that he is kind or respectful. His actions speak for themselves. You feel it in the way he listens to you, the way he considers your feelings, and the way he moves through the world with quiet strength, leaving every person he meets a little better than before. Think about the people in your life who have left a lasting impression on you. Were they the loudest, the most boastful, the ones who sought power at the expense of others? Or were they the ones who showed you kindness when they had nothing to gain, who treated you with dignity even in your lowest moments? The answer is clear. A high-value man does not belittle others to elevate himself. Instead, he lifts people up, finding fulfillment in making those around him feel valued and respected. His kindness is not performative, nor is it selective. It is woven into his daily life, reflected in small but significant acts, holding the door for a stranger, offering a genuine compliment, standing up for what is right, and treating everyone with the same level of decency, regardless of status or circumstance. His kindness does not make him weak. It makes him trustworthy, admired, and deeply respected. Now, let's talk about what this looks like in a relationship. A man who respects you and treats you with kindness is someone who makes you feel at ease, who allows you to be yourself without fear of judgment. He does not mock your emotions, dismiss your concerns, or use kindness as a tool for manipulation. Instead, his kindness is steady, reliable, and consistent, not just when things are easy, but even in moments of difficulty. He does not resort to insults or passive aggressiveness during disagreements. Rather, he approaches conflict with maturity, aiming for understanding rather than victory. Have you ever experienced the opposite? Being with someone who is kind only when it benefits them, but cold and dismissive when things don't go their way? The difference between a man who is kind by nature and a man who is kind out of convenience is staggering, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. This level of kindness and respect extends beyond just you. It is a fundamental part of how he interacts with the world. Have you ever been on a date with someone who spoke to you sweetly but was rude to the waiter? Or witnessed a man who was charming in public but dismissive and disrespectful behind closed doors? These are the warning signs of someone who uses kindness as a mask rather than as a guiding principle. Pay attention to how a man treats people when he has nothing to gain. Watch how he handles difficult situations. Does he lash out? Or does he remain composed? Does he take pleasure in humiliating others, or does he show restraint and humility? A stoic mindset teaches that true strength is demonstrated through self-control, and a man who is truly strong does not need to put others down to assert his dominance. Instead, he commands respect through his actions, through the way he treats people with dignity, and through his unwavering commitment to being a good and honorable person. Kindness, when genuine, does not fluctuate based on mood or circumstance. It is ingrained in a man's very being. Seneca once said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." A man who understands this does not reserve his kindness for special occasions or certain people. He lives by it daily, making those around him feel valued, safe, and appreciated. In the end, recognizing a truly good man comes down to consistency. Does he make you feel comfortable, respected, and appreciated, not just when things are easy, but even in challenging moments? Does he extend that same kindness to others, showing warmth and respect regardless of status or personal benefit? A high-value man knows that real strength lies in his ability to uplift those around him, to handle life with grace, and to treat every person he meets with the same level of dignity and respect. If you find a man like this, You have found something rare and valuable, and if you strive to be this man, you will not only earn the respect of others, you will build a life rooted in integrity, strength, and genuine fulfillment. Thank you for spending your time here and for valuing the deeper qualities that define a high-value man. Respect, kindness, and integrity aren't just traits. They're choices made daily, shaping not only the man himself, but the world around him. If this message resonated with you, take it with you, reflect on it, and apply it in your life. Whether you're recognizing these qualities in others or striving to embody them yourself, remember, true strength is found in character, not in words. Stay focused, stay intentional, and continue to seek wisdom. Until next time, keep growing, keep leading, and keep living with purpose.